On this edition of the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.
We're going to have to do a good job of trying to simulate it throughout the week of practice because it's pretty loud down there.
He's just a hard matchup. You almost have to spy him.
You know, we got our guy,
the paisano.
Tommy DeVito.
I try to bring energy and excitement. I just try to play it like I'm 5 years old. You know, you're out there, have fun.
What a throw by DeVito! And we welcome you to another edition of the Coach Daboll Show presented by Ford. I'm Bob Papa. On Sunday, it's the Giants and Saints in New Orleans, and the Giants coming off a big Monday Night Football win against the Green Bay Packers. As always, joined by two-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks and the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. And Coach, Monday night, the performance against the Packers, back and forth, but you got to be proud with the way your team hung in there and then executed situational football down the stretch to get the winning field goal.
Yeah, really a true team win from the coaches to the players. I thought there was good communication throughout the game, and ultimately there was good execution when we needed it the most. Played a team that was kind of on a hot streak. I think they were 16-0 in the month of December with Coach LaFleur there, and a lot of things kind of before the game that, you know, we had recognized, and you know, we were respectful to that team, but I thought the guys really did a good job of hanging in there and playing the next play.
Coach, we talked last week about how things were starting to come together for the offensive line. They're getting some guys healthy, but it just seemed like they were more in sync. And would you say this was as a good complementary effort by all, including that line?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we've talked about the line at length here. They've done a good job of kind of getting better each and every week, playing together. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect, but they did a good job. You know, we rushed for 209 yards, did a good job of protecting the quarterback, and he did a good job too of, you know, kind of all worked together like you said, but it was a good complementary game with the offense and the defense. We made some plays in the kicking game. You know, we gave up a couple too that we got to go ahead and correct, but you know, collectively from the coaches to the players, player to player, was a good complementary game. Coaches,
some of that just a byproduct of the bye, like where DeVito's taken some of these sacks and they're not all on the offensive line, they're not all on the backs, and it's you know, it's collaborative.
Yeah, no doubt.
But he now, in his study and the coaching that he's receiving, saying, hey, when you see this, take off and go. And you had no sacks given up.
Yeah, and I think that's a byproduct, too, of playing. Again, he's a young player, so he's started 4 games. There's a lot that, you know, he's kind of learning on the run of what he sees and things that he can do to improve his game. But I thought, you know, in the passing game, too, you know, the receivers did a really good job this game. Probably one of their better games of being where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, definitive in what they were doing, which also helps a quarterback. So if they're on the same page and he's on the same page, that helps the ability to get the ball out and get into the hands of the playmakers.
One of the things that we always talk about is, you know, if you watch games on Sunday, guys make plays above the numbers. Like, you know, you watch games around the league, and in this game, your receivers, whether it was Wandale on the sideline, Hodgins uncovering and making a tough catch, and then even the flea flicker, how many times do you see that ball get knocked down? But he positioned himself and came back for not the best thrown ball, but those things are factors.
Yeah, I mean, it's a player's game. So, you know, it's always good to see those guys, you know, make the plays when they come their way. It's not always going to happen, but when you get consecutive plays of guys doing the right thing. And again, I thought it was a really good design by Calf too. We got Wandale on the linebacker. He saw it. He was trying to get it up quick. He kind of short-armed it, but you know, a receiver on a linebacker, and you know, the route adjustment and the thing that he did, you take your chances on that. And that's why he kind of threw it where he did.
Carl, one of your favorite plays in the game was the Deonte Banks pass breakup, because he's beaten, and so many times young guys will start grabbing, using their hand. He just played it perfect. Yeah, out of phase and got back up, and you know, really did a good job once the ball got to the receiver. That was, you know, you could see it on the sideline. Love gave a little signal to that receiver. You know, D was locked in. He went inside rather than outside the receiver on a kind of a vertical route, and again, a little bit out of phase, caught back up, made a great play on the ball to make a huge pass breakup.
And that's not easy with even some veteran receivers. When they get out of phase, they tend to grab or tackle or something like that. But it seemed like he just stayed within with his technique and just got himself back into play.
You said it. I think Jerome's done a really good job with him of developing him. Give credit to the player first and foremost. Talented guy, but loves the game of football, works hard at his craft, and good to see him make that play.
Final question, Coach. If you walk through the facility on game day, you have all kinds of video boards and things throughout the building, and on game day, it just says 1-0. Your team is really buying into that concept of what happened the previous game, whether good or bad, or what's coming up next doesn't matter. 1-0.
Yeah, tough league, as you both know. 1 week you can be up, the next week you can be down. It can humble you very quickly. I've said it previous. Last year has nothing to do with this year. Last game has nothing to do with the next game. But to develop that mindset is not always the easiest thing. So there's a lot of resiliency, competitive toughness that needs to take place, and that's where we're at this week. We got a good team that just is at the top of their division, that just won a game by a lot of points at their place, and the only thing we can control is how we prepare for this week, which will be an important week.
We'll get into the game in New Orleans against the Saints and a whole lot more. We're just getting started here on the program. Coach is going to rejoin us later on to preview New Orleans. When we come back, though, sights and sounds of the Giants' Monday night win against the Packers here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. On Sunday, the Giants take on the Saints in New Orleans. Time for sights and sounds of the Giants' thrilling Monday night win against the Packers.
Have fun. Giants on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Wildcat with Barkley. Saquon takes the snap, hands it off for Robinson, dashes off the left side. He's to the 20, 15, 10, and knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line. A gain of 31 for Wan'Dale Robinson.
Giant offense answered their 31 with their own 31.
Gwolinski goes in motion. Handoff left for Barkley. Bounces left to the goal line. Touchdown Giants. Gwolinski went in motion and led the way as Barkley runs it in from 5 yards out. Saquon's second rushing touchdown of the season.
Good work, fellas. That's great. Great job on the left-hand side. Great that whole thing. Go back to that. This ball handling now.
Yeah.
That was loose.
Go to ball handling. Slow down a little bit.
You got me? Yeah. We can come back to that. Just make sure we're doing a good job. I thought that thing was hitting the ground.
I thought so too.
Job, okay?
Yeah, I said no. I'm grabbing that to the crib. No. I'll take the 5-yard touchdown. We're good. Let's keep this thing going now. Take the ball away when we win this game. Go take that ball away.
It's a man in motion to the left. Love takes the snap, hands it off for. Oh no, he's going to keep it on an end around. He's going to get stood up and stopped short of the first down. Ball came loose. Kayvon Thibodeau ripped it out. Love was never down. He was on Pinnock.
Hey, promo me. Better vote. Come on.
Takes the snap, back to throw. Steps up, fires a deep ball down the left side, and that's going to get intercepted by the Giants. Jason Pinnock up the right sideline. Pinnock bin ball down at the 44-yard line.
Hey, I ain't dropping that one. I ain't dropping that one.
Takes the snap. DeVito's going to keep it on a play fake. Rolls to the right to the 20, 15, cuts left to the 5, and he's knocked down from behind. And now they're saying he's down at the 1. DeVito hands it off for Barkley. Bounces his way right into the end zone. Touchdown Giants. Barkley's second of the ball game. And with 11:22 to go in the third, the Giants are in front for the first time tonight.
Hey, keep showing that heart. Keep showing that heart. Let's go.
DeVito calls signals and takes the snap. Back to throw. Looks to his right. Rolls to his right. Looking for someone on cover. Throws to the end zone. Touchdown Giants! Isaiah Hodgins made the catch. Got the feed in. What a throw by DeVito. And Tommy does the Italian thing.
Oh, yeah.
Play clock at 9 as Love wants one last peek at the defense. Takes the snap back. He's under pressure, and he's going to get sacked. Azeez Ojulari and Dexter Lawrence got the pressure, and they knock him down at the 27-yard line, a loss of 10.
Let's go. Gates are open now. Great job. Hey, Z. We might split that one.
Single high safety look on a 1st and 10. Hand off for Barkley. Zigs his way right, makes a man miss, breaks to the outside. He's to the 40, to the 35-30. Barkley to the 20, and then he tripped up and fell down at about the 20-yard line.
He let the ball go. Did he give himself up?
Yeah, he lost the football, and the Packers have it. I thought he was down by contact, and now racing down the left side is Valentine. Love takes the snap, back to throw, lobs one left to the goal line. Is he in for the touchdown? No signal yet. The official's down.
They called a touchdown.
And they called it a touchdown. Keith with the touchdown catch on Banks with 1:33 to go.
Let's go out for it. Let's go out for it.
Checkdowns are there. They can get out of bounds. Give it to them, right? We got 2 timeouts. We're in good shape, okay?
All right, here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Well, here we go.
What can Tommy DeVito do? The Jersey kid has a chance to do something special here against the Packers. DeVito back, sets in the pocket, fires it right. Robinson makes the catch along the sideline to the 30 and shoved out of bounds at the 23-yard line. 31-yard pass play to Wan'Dale Robinson, and with 42 seconds to go, the Giants have it 1st and 10 at the Green Bay 22-yard line. So with 2 seconds to go, the Packers lead by 1. Bullock will try a field goal of 37 to win it. Gillen a hold. Pride of the long snapper. Snap is good. Kick on its way. End over end, and it is good! And the Giants have beaten the Packers 24-22.
Obviously, the Giants thrilled the hometown fans. What a win against the Packers, doing it in primetime for their first home primetime win since 2016. When we come back, our player interview and more here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.
Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, brought to you by Ford. I'm Madeline Burke, and thrilled to be joined by the Giants quarterback, Tommy DeVito. Tommy, 3 straight wins. This momentum has been catching fire. How much do you, as a guy from New Jersey who grew up watching the Giants, kind of feel the way that it's galvanized not just this team, but this fan base so much?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's always fun when you're winning. So try to stay even keel through it all, but just enjoy the moments with my teammates.
Even keeled is the way I think everyone would describe you. You know, the highs, the lows, your post-game press conferences, you've just got such a steady hand, which, you know, as a rookie, that's something that some people say, well, it takes time to learn. You know, how would you describe how you've been able to keep yourself so steady?
Yeah, I think just time. I mean, I've been playing the game for a little while now, since I was 5, so kind of has built throughout the years, throughout high school and then throughout college. So every year just learning more about the position and how to go about playing it from guys that I've been below in the past.
Yeah, well, and you've kind of taken it upon yourself, too, to learn the position in unique ways. I mean, this season, throughout the season, you and head coach Brian Daboll have been making time to get together each week, right, and go over some film. And what's that process been like, and how has that prepared you for the opportunity when it came for you to be the starter?
Yeah, I think that just helped us learn each other. When we're watching something, I get his perspective, he gets my perspective, and then we kind of have conversation about it. So in that way, we kind of get on the same page and just learn more about each other and what we're thinking in certain situations.
What's been the most surprising thing that you've learned about Dabes?
He's just a fun dude to be around. He's an offensive mind, obviously, but you don't always see that when you're on the field or outside of like some of the meetings that we've had, just seeing him relaxed and just hanging out, just enjoying him. He's a really good person.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I mean, and this entire coaching staff, you know, you've been working with them quite a bit. Does it feel like this offense has gotten more simplified to you? Do you feel more comfortable in it? How have you and your perception of the way that this Giants offense runs evolved?
Yeah, I think it's evolved. I think as coaches, their best interest is to play around your players' strengths. I think throughout the weeks we've done that. They've kind of gone back and we've gone through what I like, what I don't like. Just things that I've done in the past that I've been comfortable with, and they've done a great job, you know, building that around me and also around the rest of the guys in the field.
Yeah. Now, since quarterback stats were first tracked, this was like back in 1950, there's only been one quarterback who's completed 80% of his passes, rushed for more than 70 yards, committed no turnovers and taken no sacks. And that quarterback was you on Sunday. When you realize that you're doing things that, haven't been done in this game before, do you feel that? I mean, you're named NFC Player of the Week after that performance. Do you take a moment to just say, wow, that's something special?
Not really, honestly. Kind of just another thing. I'm really just focused on just playing, enjoying it, being in the moment, and not really worried about the outside as much.
It's got to be helpful, too, playing behind the offensive line that you have that's been kind of consistent the last few weeks. I saw Daves gave the game ball to the O-line after last week's win. How comfortable do you feel behind that group?
Very. I think they've gotten better each and every week, and they're going to continue to get better and make strides, and I'm just going to continue to trust in them and make their life easier.
Now, you're going up against a Saints team this week that's, their pass defense is pretty tough. They allow the lowest passer rating in the NFL. When you're looking at this tape, when you're early evaluating this team, how are you preparing for them?
We're really just focused on us. Yeah, we're playing against them, but at the same time, I think in the past few weeks, the only people that have stopped us is us, whether us making mistakes, just not executing certain things, so we're going to go out and just play our game of football.
It seems like this team's having a lot of fun in the process, right? Stacking wins, but having fun, enjoying doing it. You guys ran a flea flicker the other day, which was a lot of fun to see. What's the joy level like in that locker room?
It's fun. I try to bring energy and excitement. I just, like I said a million times, I try to enjoy it. I try to play it like I'm 5 years old. Obviously, there's a lot more on the line, bigger crowds, whole deal, but I just try to enjoy it and just try to bring that energy amongst the guys just to, you're out there, have fun.
Yeah. When you look at where you are right now, goals for the remaining part of the season, 4 games left, there's a lot of possibilities. How do you keep your focus? What keeps you grounded at this point?
Just focused on the week at hand. So right now I'm just focused on the Saints. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Just take it 1-0, 1 week at a time.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk today. Giants quarterback Tommy DeVito. We've got much more to come here on the Coach Daboll Show, brought to you by Ford. Stay with us. We'll be back with more after this.
Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Time for this week's edition of Head to Head. Here's Paul Dottino and Sean O'Hara.
All right, we've got some really good matchups on head-to-head this week for the Giants and the Saints game. Sean, up first, we are going to go with Demario Davis, the former Jet Brown and now Saint, against John Michael Schmitz. Now, Davis, even though in each of the last 4 years he's been on one of the all-pro teams, and we all know how much he's respected around the league. In fact, he's only missed 1 game in 12 NFL seasons. It's absolutely incredible, his durability. A lot of people just don't seem to know about him. He seems to go under the radar a lot. I can't believe that, because he's third amongst NFL active players with over 1,200 career tackles. The guy just makes plays, and the Giants know they better take care of him.
Obviously, watch film. He's a hell of a player. Like you said, 12 years in the league. He's been around. He knows what he's doing. He has a lot of instinct. So we're going to get ready to prepare for him.
Well, for John Michael Schmitz, he knows every time he walks up to that ball, he's got to find 56. As a center, your job is to get to the Mike linebacker on most of the run plays, and you always have to be aware where he is in pass protection. And Paul, you mentioned 12 years in the league. This guy has been one of the most underrated linebackers in the league. He's a sure tackler. He doesn't miss time. He doesn't come off the field. So he's a first and second down player, downhill linebacker, and then on third down, he does so much for the Saints. The challenge for John Michael Schmitz is in the run game. This guy has so much instinct and he's so savvy. There's a play against Jacksonville, and on the snap, he immediately reads the guard pull and flies outside, actually beats Travis Etienne outside to the spot and gets a tackle for a loss. So you see right here the stats, the sacks right here. He's second on the Saints defense right now in sacks, and here's why. On third down, he's no longer a linebacker. So for John Michael Schmitz, he's got to communicate to everybody where 56 is, because on third down, they go to what we call an odd front. You've got a guy on the center, a guy on the tackle, a guy on the tackle, and Demario Davis is lined up as a linebacker. He's standing up, but he's their fourth rusher. So that's really where this head-to-head matchup is going to really have some teeth. For John Michael Schmitz, third down, we used to have a code word, Paul. We'd call it bingo. Bingo alert, bingo alert. When anytime we thought there was going to be a twist or some sort of a game up front, you have to set back. So that's the challenge for John Michael Schmitz and the offensive line. Create that picket fence against Demario Davis on 3rd down. And certainly on 1st and 2nd down, you want to get Saquon rolling, you better block 56.
All right, let's look at this next matchup that we've got. And it's Chris Olave, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, second-year player, has had over 70 catches in each of his first 2 years, against Adoree Jackson, the veteran corner, who's really playing well. Now, Olave has sub 4.4 speed. We all know what he can do just by burning past you. The interesting part is that in 2 of his last 3 games, he's had at least 100 yards receiving. And in 3 of his last 5 games, he's caught a touchdown pass. He seems to be getting better as the season goes on, which means Jackson has to be on his toes.
I think like you started off with his speed that he has. I think he runs his routes very well and doesn't give any tells really if he's breaking down, keeps everything at the same speed. So I think that what makes him a great receiver. You know, having speed is one thing, but being able to play at one speed is a different thing. He does that.
Well, for Adoree Jackson, he's got a great matchup right here because Chris Olave, you look at the receptions and the yards, look, targets, he is the most targeted receiver on the Saints offense, and he actually has more than double the targets of any other receiver on this team. Now, Olave is going to get fed the ball. Derek Carr's looking for him in every situation. And you see the 4 touchdowns right here. And Paul, you referenced those. All 4 touchdowns have been in the red zone. So guess what? Down in the red zone, he's looking for Chris Olave. So that's where Adoree Jackson is going to have his work cut out for him. And you see right there, Adoree, there's the head-to-head stats. And Adoree is so good instinctually at knowing the route and knowing exactly what the receiver is doing. Against the Patriots, there was a slant route where as soon as the receiver broke on the slant, Adoree was driving on it, had a really nice pass breakup. So he's got great route recognition. I think Adoree has kind of flown under the radar a little bit this year too because the play of Deonte Banks and other reasons, but Adoree has done a great job defensive. He's only given up 1 touchdown all season long. But Adoree's challenge is going to be find Olave because they do move him around. They put him in the slot. They put him outside. He can do it all. And as I mentioned, he's Derek Carr's favorite target. He makes some unbelievable catches. He had a phenomenal catch, Paul, against the Minnesota Vikings in the back corner of the end zone. I don't know how he caught it to this day. It might be one of the top 10 catches that I've seen in the league this year. It was an unbelievable throw. He kind of climbed the stairway to heaven to get the ball and then somehow was able to twinkle toe tap his way in the back of the end zone. Something Amani Toomer used to do a ton of back in our playing days. Tightrope on that sideline. He does a great job of that. So this will be a great matchup.
Now, Jackson would love to get involved in the Giants turnover parade. You know, during the Giants' 3-game winning streak, they've got 12 takeaways on defense, but Jackson does not have any of them. He's going to try to get his hold of that ball this week in New Orleans. Well, that'll do it for this week's head-to-head. Let's go back to Bob.
Carl, the Giants are going to have to deal with a very talented defense in the New Orleans Saints. Demario Davis has been in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that has been consistently good, and it's a testament to his conditioning, but his staying power, Bob, because, guys kind of get older and all of a sudden they just kind of find a spot and just kind of go along to get along. This guy is a highly productive player.
We're going to dive a little bit more into that and much more. Carl will be back with strategy on the Coach's Tape here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.
New York Giants football is on the air from the Superdome in New Orleans. The New York Football Giants take on the New Orleans Saints. Hello again, everyone. So glad you can join us. Barkley split left. Jones back, looks left, throws left. Barkley's got it on the run to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Giants!
Now there's some fight. Look at Barkley. He's on fire.
Now the Giants trying to get to within 3. Jones in a shotgun. Ingram in motion left. Play fake. Jones is going to run it up the middle, and he's in for the 2-point conversion.
We winning this game, believe that.
Now from the right hash to tie the game with 36 seconds to go. Snap, spot, plenty of leg, and it is good. So NYG-NO has tied it, and we are going to go to overtime. First and goal, Giants at the 6. Here in overtime, and they score a touchdown and end this with 5 minutes to go in OT. Hand off Saquon, slices right to the end zone and in for the touchdown, and the Giants win in overtime. Saquon Barkley on a 6-yard run.
2 years ago, the Giants went down to New Orleans. Saquon Barkley's touchdown in overtime gave the Giants the victory. Daniel Jones had 402 yards passing, and the Giants finally won in New Orleans. Time now for strategy. How do the Giants do it again? Here's Carl Banks to take you to the coach's tape. And Carl, Alvin Kamara has been a consistent for the New Orleans Saints. He's a threat two ways. He's accounted for 6 touchdowns so far this season. What makes him so tough?
Bob, because he is such a skillful runner and receiver. But when you look, he doesn't look like the power runner, but he's so elusive, and then he has power when he gets through the line of scrimmage. And you'll see here, nothing special, outside zone play, jump cut, and he's through here, Bob. And I'll run it back again. You get a double team out here, you get a seal here, linebacker has to get there to make the play, but he overruns it, and Kamara's off. And now watch the power. He's just a big, powerful kid who's got great speed. And let's take a look here. This is Kamara in the passing game. Check down, open field. I mean, he covers a lot of ground. That's a 5-yard pass that goes 30.
Yeah, I mean, he goes sideways, and then he's got the foot speed to turn it upfield.
He outruns the leverage. He literally outruns the leverage here. Yeah. Like, he catches the ball. He's got a guy with eyes on him here. You got a guy with eyes on him here. You got eyes on him here. He outruns all of that leverage. There he is. He just outruns everybody.
Picks up a couple blocks and makes a nice gain on the play. Carl, let's take a look at another play of Alvin Kamara on offense, because we've seen his shiftiness, we've seen his power, but when he gets in space, he's a handful.
He is, and here they are in man coverage. The defender here has him, and what you're going to see is what they call a halfback option route, where he can go inside or outside. You can see, sets him up, he gets the ball, and he's just running. Just good power. Again, he's just a hard matchup. You almost have to spy him, but you got to keep leverage on him at all times.
It almost looked like they had him spied, but he was so quick out of that break that he just beat the linebacker inside. Let's go to the other side of the ball. Defensively, the Saints haven't played up to the numbers that expected this season, but they can cause a lot of problems for an opposing offense.
Yeah, Bob, if you take a look at this, they've got 7 guys at the line of scrimmage, or there's 2, 4, 6. That means they've got 5 guys in coverage. If they bring another guy, that's going to be 7. So as a quarterback, you've got to look at this and make great decisions. And I'm going to give you this close-up look first, and then I'll take you to the all-22. But this is going to end up being a 7-man rush, which means that they only have one-on-ones on the outside. Somebody's got to get open. So you take a look here. Quarterback is looking around. Everybody comes here. All 6 guys come. And then here comes the 7th guy. So at some point, this quarterback's got to say, I got to get the ball out of my hands, and it's got to be fast. And everybody has to be on the same page. And I say this because they're facing a rookie quarterback in Tommy DeVito, and he's got to be able to communicate with his wide receivers. Now, let's just take a look here. Now, this is going to be the guy who ultimately blitzes. They want to find out if New Orleans is in man coverage. So they motion a guy out. Nobody really moves, right? So you still got to be alert with 6 guys up. You got to be alert that there's going to be a 7th guy in the blitz. Now, what has to happen when this guy leaves, this guy's got to be the hot receiver. He just continues to run his regular route. Quarterback has no time for that. So I say that to say when you get certain looks as a rookie quarterback, communication is important from wide receivers all the way to the quarterback.
That's a look at strategy. The coach's tape as the Giants get ready for the New Orleans Saints. Over-under comes your way next with Madeline Burke, Amani Toomer, and Sean O'Hara here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. It's time for this week's edition of Over Under. Here's Madeline Burke, along with Sean O'Hara and Amani Toomer.
Time now for some Week 15 over-under brought to you by the New York Lottery. Madeline Burke, Sean O'Hara, and Amani Toomer here to play the game. I'll throw out a number, and we'll decide if we think that this team is going to go over or under when the Giants visit New Orleans to play the Saints on Sunday. Sean, I'm going to start with you here. Over or under 1.5 pass breakups by Deonte Banks?
Yeah, I'm going over on this one all the way. I think it's interesting. Whenever we talk about rookies, you always hear the cliche, the rookie wall. Deonte Banks has run right through that wall. Like, he's getting better as the season goes along, and I think this is a great opportunity because the Saints, they run a lot of slants, and Derek Carr has a lot of contested throws. He trusts his receiver, so he's trying to fit the ball into tight windows. So I'm taking the over because I think Tay, he's going to have a big game.
Tay, I like the nickname. I think it's going to go over as well because I feel like you always have an opportunity to take advantage of rookie players. Maybe he may hit that wall. That's going on in the Saints' mind. I think they're going to try and test him out, and he's going to have a whole bunch of pass breaks. I'm going over.
I think I'm going over as well because just like the arrow for Deonte Banks' stock is pointing up right there. And the fact that he has had so many plays, so many near interceptions, so many highlight reel plays. He's around the ball. He's a ball hawk, and I would love to see it. So I think that he's going to take the over on 1.5 this week. All right, Amani, over or under 3.5 touchdowns by the Giants, offense or defense?
Oh, they're going to go over. This team can score. We got, we got our guy,
the paisano.
Tommy DeVito. I definitely think we are going to go over. This offense is scoring in bunches right now. They look like you got Wan'Dale Robinson, a receiver, really starting to make it. Jalen Hyatt. All these younger players are starting to show. And Tommy DeVito he's the maestro. He's allowing this all thing to happen. This offense looks really good. He's getting the ball into his hands, which I know the offensive linemen love.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup here because the Saints defense has actually been really good. They don't give up a ton of points, but because we're adding the offense and the defense, I'm taking the over. I think the Giants offense has some momentum. They have a little juice right now. Call it the Jersey juice, whatever you want to call it. But Tommy DeVito has got things working, and the offensive line, this is the best that they've played all season long. We actually ran a flea figure and it worked last week. So the gadget plays are working. Isaiah Hodges is tight roping in the back of the end zone. I think on the road, this Giants offense finds a way to get touchdowns in the red zone, and I think we got a pick 6 brewing. I think Derek Carr's due. You mentioned Tay Banks might be due for an interception. I think Dory Jackson is due for an interception, and why not take it the other way in the Big Easy?
I'm going to agree with you and take the over as well. You mentioned how good the Saints defense has been, especially against the pass, but their run defense, not as much. Saquon Barkley got in the end zone with 2 rushing touchdowns last week. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little something like that again this week. All right, finally, Sean, over under 2.5 takeaways by the Giants.
Well, I already kind of mentioned the interception by the defense, so I'm going to go over on this one right now. I think when you look at the defense, the way they're playing right now, how aggressive they are, Kayvon Thibodeau, I think a guy named Thibodeau down in the French quarters, I think he's due for a big game. Give the guy some beignets pregame, let him carb load a little bit. I think the pressure on Derek Carr has been evident all season long. He does hold on to the ball quite a bit, so it's not just interceptions. I expect some fumbles out of the pass rush, whether it's, Ojulari, who got in there last week, whether it's Thibodeau or whether it's, Bobby Okereke punching the ball out. I think that ball is primed to get punched out in the Big Easy.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because of Derek Carr as well. He's been hurried. He does not look comfortable in the pocket in his new surroundings in New Orleans. I feel like he is going to give up a couple balls. He's going to fumble. He's been hit a lot. I think this is a good ideal game for the Giants defense to really put their foot on the necks of the Saints and come up with these turnovers.
I mean, the season of giving continues, and I'm going to take the over as well because these quarterbacks are feeling very charitable when it comes to this Giants defense lately. It's been a key to success for this Giants defense, and I'm going to take the over across the board. Look at us, all in agreement on that one. Simpatico indeed. Giants, Saints, Sunday in New Orleans. That's a wrap for your Week 15 over-under brought to you by the New York Lottery. Let's send it back to Bob.
Carl, one of the other things is the takeaways. It's when the Giants are taking the football away, unlike earlier in the season when they were getting takeaways but not winning, they're turning those takeaways into winning performances.
And that's the key, Bob. And they're doing it by improving as a team tackling. Because, going for takeaways and not securing the tackle only leads to broken tackles and more yardage after contact. They're doing a really good job of wrapping the guy up, second guy in, coming in and punching the ball out.
Carl, numbers are always a big factor in all NFL games, so it's time for Above the Numbers with Paul Dottino and Amani Toomer.
All right, so let's go above the numbers for the Giants-Saints game on Sunday. Amani, who was up first?
I got our little spark plug in Wan'Dale Robinson. This guy, when I watched him last week, the explosion, the way he gets in and out of his breaks, I can see why he was a second-round draft pick out of Kentucky. This guy, if he plays well and he gives the opportunity for Tommy DeVito to get an underneath player, this guy is always open. I'm really impressed with the way he's been playing, stacking on top of each other, and then I think we might have a real player at wide receiver, a playmaker.
He had 114 total yards from scrimmage the other day. That is his career high. Now, what I loved about this, he had a 32-yard reception and a 32-yard run.
Yeah.
Those happen to be the two longest plays in his young career since he came to the Giants. Remember, he averaged 5 yards a carry when he was in college. They're not afraid to use him in running plays. He's had 8 rushing plays so far this year and combined for over 70 yards on those plays.
And when he had that on the last drive, that clutch gene, we know he has it. When the chips are on the line, you can count on Wan'Dale Robinson.
Set up the winning field goal.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to go to defense, and I like Azeez Ojulari, who's had another injury-riddled season, but boy, did he come to play against the Packers. 4 tackles, 3 quarterback hits. Now, he is so productive in the pass rush. In his first 24 games as a Giant, he had 13.5 sacks, but injuries have really kind of gotten in the way for him. This could be a big game. Ryan Ramczyk, the right tackle for the Saints, leads their offensive line in giving up sacks this year. He's given up 5. Mm-hmm. That's also a career high for him. He has been a very productive player, but not so much this year. Ojulari's got to take advantage.
Yeah, we need another person on the outside, opposite Kayvon Thibodeau, to really make this pass rush complete.
All right, let's go to below the numbers, and who do you think we have here?
Jack of all trades, Taysom Hill, quarterback / fullback / special teamer. This guy is all over the field. And when he's in there, he's such a change-up. The defense has to be aware. I know Wink Martindale is going to have a great plan to isolate and have a package purely just for him, because this is a guy that will, in the red zone, in scoring situations, ends up coming up with big plays.
Yeah, I want to talk about this guy historically for a second because it's really of particular interest to Giants fans. He and Frank Gifford, the Giants Hall of Fame running back, are the only players in NFL history to have at least 25 touchdown runs, 10 touchdown passes, and 10 touchdown receptions. It's truly remarkable, the jack of all trades that he has been. Now, this year, the 229 receiving yards, that is the most he has had in any one season. And even though he's been banged up a bit, they're not afraid to put him all over the field. In fact, he's also the up back on the punt team, which means you've got to watch for the fake. Very, very, very careful how you deal with this fella. That'll do it for this week's Above the Numbers. Let's go back to Bob.
Carl, Wan'Dale Robinson had big numbers. You know, when you look at explosive plays, not only did he have a 32-yard run, but his 32-yard catch at the end of regulation set up a makeable field goal for the Giants. They need him now to build upon that and be a consistent weapon.
Well, exactly. And I think when you look at his usage, it's not just as a slot wide receiver. It's as a running back, as a outside receiver. So they've used him in a lot of different capacities, which will also highlight his skill set because he can do so many things.
We're going to take a timeout. When we come back on the program, 3 Things with Madeline Burke, and Coach Daboll rejoins us here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. On Sunday, it's the Giants in New Orleans against the Saints. Time for 3 Things. Here's Madeline Burke.
It's Week 15, and the Giants are facing the Saints on Sunday afternoon in the Big Easy. I'm Madeline Burke with 3 things you need to know. Giants running back Saquon Barkley is coming off his first 2-touchdown performance since 2019, and he'll be going against a Saints defense this weekend that has allowed 131.5 rushing yards per game, 26th in the NFL. Now, the Giants pass rush will be looking to get to quarterback Derek Carr, but New Orleans quarterbacks have been sacked 27 times this season, though just 7 times in the last 6 games. And Giants quarterback Tommy DeVito becomes the first Giants quarterback to win 3 straight games with a 100-plus passer rating in each of the 3 wins since Eli Manning did it in 2014. DeVito was named NFC Player of the Week. That's a wrap for 3 things you need to know in Week 15. I'm Madeline Burke. Let's send it back to Bob.
And we're rejoined by the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. On Sunday, the Giants go to New Orleans to take on the Saints. And, Coach, traditionally, obviously, that's been a tough place for a lot of teams to play. And then you take a look at some of the weapons that they have, and you look at Alvin Kamara. He's accounted for 6 touchdowns this season, and a guy that they need to get the football in his hands. What are some of the things that make him so difficult?
Yeah, he's dynamic in space. He's got good toughness. You get the ball in his hands, he can take it to the house like that. So he's a tough out, whether it's in the run game or the pass game. They can use him in a variety of ways. He's been a heck of a player in this league for a long time.
Then you can take a look at Chris Olave, 72 catches on the season. He could be the big-time vertical threat. When you look at Olave's skill sets, what makes him such a tough matchup?
Yeah, I'd say he can run the complete route tree. He can hurt you vertical. He can stem you and get open in the intermediate part of the field, and he can catch and run. So they've used him a bunch. I think they got a lot of confidence in him. You can see, I'd say he's done a really good job. Obviously, his first year as rookie, and now he's in second year. He's a dang good receiver.
Carl, on the other side of the ball, obviously the Saints pose some pretty interesting weapons, don't they?
They do. Their pass rush is pretty. They do a lot of different things in the pass rush. Coaching with your young quarterback, it's making sure everybody's communicating, right?
Yeah, they play good team defense. They get you to third down, and they're a problem with the different stunts and the games that they use. And then they play a fair amount of man-to-man coverage, and they'll get up in the face of the receivers and really challenge you. So they've taken the ball away. They're really good on all 3 levels. Got to be aware of particularly their playmakers. Be certainly a challenge.
And Coach, they have some veteran guys in key spots, right? Cam Jordan's been doing it a long time, an 8-time Pro Bowler.
Yep.
And then Demario Davis is one of those like London Fletcher kind of guys where he doesn't miss a snap.
Yeah.
And then they have the Honey Badger who has 3 picks, Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be aware of where he's at, and sometimes it's he just plays off instincts. He plays within the scheme of the defense, but you can never really tell what he's doing at times when you're playing quarterback. So you got to be alert to him. Davis is, I think, a top inside linebacker in this league. Dependable, tough, instinctive, smart. And then Jordan, he's done it for, as you said, a long time. Causes issues on the edge for you. He's got power, another instinctive player. So really some good players on that roster.
What about the challenge of playing in a dome? Especially that place, because it's an older building, so it's on a smaller footprint, so it can really get loud.
Yeah, it does get loud, and we're going to have to do a good job of trying to simulate it throughout the week of practice, put as much stress on the players in terms of their ability to communicate. Again, whether it's offensively or defensively, we're going to have to do a good job of our communication process because it's pretty loud down there.
Well, we wish you the best of luck on Sunday. Road trip to New Orleans, and keep the train rolling in the right direction.
Thanks, guys.
That's the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. This week's game between the Giants and the New Orleans Saints is brought to you by Teradata, the official data analytics partner of the New York Giants, delivering harmonized data and faster innovation. And make sure after the game, tune in to MSG Network, Giants Postgame Live, all the reaction between the Giants and the Saints. So for Carl Banks, Coach Daboll, and our entire crew, I'm Bob Papa. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.